94% of your life, changing opportunities are being rejected before you even know they exist. Pause and let that sink in. Almost everything that could change your life for the better. New connections, new ideas, new paths, new chances, never even reaches you. They don't stand in front of you and slam the door. They don't announce themselves with flashing lights. They vanish quietly, long before your conscious mind ever has the chance to choose. That rejection doesn't feel like rejection at all. It feels like logic. It feels like maturity. It disguises itself as careful planning, as responsibility, as patience. A soft voice in the back of your head whispers, "Not yet. Wait until things line up. Wait until you're fully ready. Don't rush." And because it feels safe, you obey. You obey without realizing you've obeyed. But here's the truth. No one tells you what you think is protection is actually limitation. That inner reflex, the one that seems so harmless, is not saving you. It is shrinking you. It is not keeping you secure. It is keeping you small. It's like a silent contract written years ago, and every day you keep signing it without noticing. Think about the times you felt a spark, a nudge, an inner pull to try something different. Maybe it was reaching out to someone who could change your path. Maybe it was beginning the project that has lived in your heart for years. Maybe it was saying yes to an opportunity you didn't fully understand. But in the moment, you felt that spark. Another thought rushed in. What if I fail? What if this isn't for me? What if I'm not ready? And just like that, the moment slipped away, not because the opportunity was gone, but because your filter erased it. Their lives aren't limited by lack of chances. Their lives are limited by the invisible reflex that rejects those chances before they're even noticed. And the most dangerous part, this happens in silence. It happens with a gentle tone, with a reasonable face. It doesn't scream. It doesn't force. It simply nudges you back into the familiar, and you accept it without question. Until now, because once you recognize that this so-called protection is nothing more than programming, you begin to take your power back. You begin to see how many of the choices you thought you made were never truly yours. And when you see that clearly, the cycle cracks. The system inside your own mind no longer writes your story without your permission. This is where transformation begins. Not with motivation, not with hype, but with awareness. And once awareness enters, everything changes. Inside your mind, hidden beneath your daily thoughts, there is a filter. You didn't choose it consciously. You didn't sit down one day and decide, "Let me install something that will block my opportunities." No, this filter was built piece by piece, layer by layer, through years of repetition. Every time you were told, "That's too risky." Every time someone laughed when you tried something new. Every time you failed and felt the sting of disappointment. Every time fear whispered that staying safe was better than stepping forward. Those moments didn't disappear. They built something. They built a system. And now, without you realizing it, this system scans everything new that comes your way. It doesn't ask, "Is this aligned with my future?" It only asks one question. Is this familiar? If it feels familiar, even if it has kept you stuck for years, it stamps it as safe. If it feels new, even if it's the very door to your destiny, it stamps it as dangerous. This filter does not shout. It doesn't grab you by the shoulders and scream, "Don't try this." It is much more subtle than that. It speaks in soft whispers in polite tones. It says, That's not for you. That's too risky. You're not ready yet. Let's be practical. And because it feels reasonable, you obey. You don't even notice that you've obeyed. You think you've made a logical decision, when in reality you've just followed a subconscious reflex that was programmed long ago. The filter convinces you that it's protecting you, but in truth, it is robbing you. It keeps you small while convincing you that you're being wise. It calls hesitation maturity. It calls avoidance safety. And slowly, it builds a cage that doesn't look like a cage. Because the bars are made of good reasons, think back on the moments you've second-guessed yourself. How many times have you felt a clear pull to act, only to let the whisper talk you out of it? How many times have you felt that inner fire, only to smother it with logic that sounded sensible but left you standing still? That's the filter at work. It doesn't destroy your future in one dramatic moment. It erodes it through countless tiny delays. Here's the truth. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are simply carrying a program that was installed long before you knew how powerful you really are. And now, you have the choice to see it for what it is. Because once you see the filter clearly, you are no longer bound by it. You don't have to destroy it. You don't have to fight it. You simply have to stop letting it be the one that makes the final decision. Awareness, once you realize the filter is not you. It is just old programming. You unlock the first door to freedom. And when you walk through that door, the opportunities that were once invisible begin to come into focus. Now that you've seen the filter for what it is, the question becomes, how do you rise above it? How do you send a different message? One strong enough to override years of hesitation. The answer is not louder words. It is not endless motivation. It is not forcing yourself to repeat the same phrases until you are exhausted. The answer lies in the signal you are already broadcasting every single moment of your life. Your body is a transmitter. Your thoughts, your emotions, your breath, your posture, all of them are part of a constant broadcast, sending a frequency into the world around you. You may not see it, but you feel it. Others feel it. And the reality around you, this is why two people can speak the exact same words, yet only one of them shifts the atmosphere. It is not the words that carry the power. It is the state behind them. Think about it. You can say, I am confident 1,000 times, but if your shoulders are slumped, if your stomach is tight with fear, if your nervous system is bracing for rejection, the signal you are sending is not confidence. It is doubt. You can say, I am ready, until the ink in your journal runs dry. But if your energy is still holding back, if your body is preparing to lose, then the frequency is hesitation, not readiness. The world doesn't respond to what you claim. It responds to what you embody. It responds to the vibration you carry when no one is watching. And the sobering truth is this: your signal doesn't lie. You can mask your words. You can edit your captions. You can hide behind performance. But your frequency always tells the truth. So what does it mean to calibrate the signal? It means beginning with your state. It means shifting from fear to faith, from tension to steadiness, from scattered energy to coherence. It doesn't start with grand declaration. It starts with simple alignment. Straighten your posture. Breathe with rhythm instead of panic. Allow your mind to quiet instead of chase. These small shifts might look invisible, but they are not small at all. They change the very field you walk through. When your state changes, your broadcast changes, and when your broadcast changes, the opportunities that were once hidden begin to appear. Not because they weren't there before, but because you weren't tuned to see them. Coherence is the key. Alignment is the magnet, and once you learn to hold that state, not just visit it for a moment, but live in it, your entire reality begins to reorganize itself around the signal you've chosen. This is the art of calibration. It is not about saying the right things. It is about becoming the right frequency. And when who you say you are matches who you actually are, that's when transformation moves from theory into reality. There is a moment, small, fragile, but infinitely powerful, that appears every time it doesn't wait for you to feel ready. It shows up like a spark, like a flash of light breaking through the fog. In that moment, you know what you should do. You feel the nudge. You sense the truth. But here's the danger. You only have a few seconds before the filter. The programming, the hesitation begins its work. Neuroscientists have, on average, you have about 5 seconds before the brain interrupts you with doubt. 5 seconds before the protective reflex rushes in to whisper, "Not yet." Think about it. Play it safe. Stay here. 5 seconds before the opportunity begins to close itself off again. That's all it takes. A tiny delay, a small pause, a breath too long, and the chance you felt slips away, not because it wasn't real, but because hesitation killed it. This is why transformation doesn't belong to the most talented, the most educated, or the most prepared. It belongs to those who move inside the window. It belongs to the ones who feel the spark and take a step before fear has time to negotiate. You don't need to leap across the whole mountain. You don't need to know how the entire story will end. You only need to honor the window with one real action. Send the message, open the draft, make the call. Sign the form, take the step, the 5-second window, a crack in the pattern, a glimpse into the life you could be living. And here's the truth most people miss. These windows don't arrive once in a lifetime. They arrive every single day. The difference between the life you dream about and the life you repeat is whether you move inside them or let them close. So the next time clarity comes, don't wait for the perfect plan. Don't wait until everything is lined up in neat rows. Decide quickly. Act inside the window because hesitation builds a cage, but movement builds a path. And every time you honor that window, you send a new signal to life itself. I am ready. I am moving. I am no longer waiting. Most people believe change comes from big rituals, grand declarations, dramatic ceremonies, moments where everything shifts at once. They light candles, write goals, make vision boards, repeat affirmations, and then wait for transformation to arrive. But here is the secret. Rituals may inspire you, but they don't rewire you. What truly changes your life is rhythm. Not what you do once in a burst of energy, but what you do consistently, quietly, when no one is watching. Think of rhythm as the beat your soul moves to. It is the steady repetition that shapes your identity. Anyone can make a promise to themselves in a single moment of emotion, but it's the daily rhythm that proves whether you meant it. If you walk one step every day, you will eventually reach the mountain peak. If you wait until you feel perfectly ready, you will still be standing at the bottom years later. Ritual is a spark. Rhythm is a fire. Ritual excites you in the moment. Rhythm sustains you when the excitement fades. The truth is, most people confuse the two. They believe they are making progress because they had one powerful ritual. But in reality, nothing changes until rhythm is born. What does rhythm look like? It looks like sitting down for 10 minutes every day to work on the project you've been postponing. It looks like speaking with courage in one small conversation instead of waiting for the perfect stage. It looks like practicing steadiness in your body and clarity in your breath every morning before the world begins to pull you into noise. These actions don't look dramatic, but repeated daily, they become the architecture of a new identity. And here's the most important part. Rhythm doesn't require perfection. You don't have to get it right every time. You don't have to move mountains overnight. You simply have to keep returning, again and again, to the rhythm that reflects the person you are choosing to become. One page written, one call made, one step taken. Each one is a beat, and the universe listens to rhythm more than ritual. Because what you do once is a wish. What you do repeatedly becomes who you are, and once your rhythm matches the life you desire, transformation is no longer a question of if. It becomes a matter of when. We live in a world that praises practicality. People will tell you to be realistic, to play it safe, to wait until the timing is perfect. On the surface, it sounds wise. It sounds responsible. But if you look closely, you'll see that what most people call practical is just fear wearing a mask. It is hesitation disguised. It is paralysis dressed up in respectable language. Think about how many times you've had a clear vision, a clear nudge, a clear calling, and the very next thought that followed was, "Let me wait until I'm more ready." You convince yourself it's the sensible choice. You tell yourself you're gathering more information, you're preparing, you're being careful. Months pass, sometimes years, and what was once a burning idea in your heart turns into a memory of something you almost did. This is the danger of confusing practicality with paralysis. Preparation is important. But preparation without action becomes the prettiest cage of all. Because while you are preparing, the window of opportunity is closing. While you are preparing, your courage is fading. While you are preparing, your future is slipping back into the hands of your old programming. True practicality is not about waiting until you know every step. True practicality is about asking, does this stretch me toward the future I want, or does it shrink me back into the safety of the past? If it stretches you, even if it makes you tremble, it is practical. Because the most practical thing you can ever do is to align your life with your destiny. And here's the reality. You will never feel fully ready. Readiness isn't a feeling. It is a decision. Confidence doesn't arrive before action. It is created. Every leader, every creator, every master you admire once stood in the same place you are standing right now. Unsure, uncertain, unprepared. The only difference is they chose to move anyway. So the next time your mind says, "Be practical, wait until later." Remember this. Later is a lie. Later becomes never. Later is the excuse that robs you of the life you were meant to live. Don't let practicality become your prison. Let it become your compass, guiding you to choices that stretch you, expand you, and lead you closer to the person you were always meant to be. Every time you feel the urge to rise, there is a voice that follows close behind. It doesn't scream, it doesn't shout. It speaks softly, almost kindly, like a friend who only wants to protect you. It says, "You're not ready. Be careful. Think it through. Wait until the right moment." And because the voice sounds calm and logical, you trust it, you obey it. But that voice is not your truth. It is hesitation. Hesitation is the thief. It does not come with violence. It comes in whispers. It comes in small pauses that feel harmless at the time. You tell yourself you'll act tomorrow. You tell yourself you'll start when you're more confident. You tell yourself you'll move when things are perfect. But tomorrow comes and tomorrow goes and nothing changes, not because you weren't capable, but because hesitation rewrote the moment before it even began. Here's the part most people never realize. Hesitation doesn't just delay your future, it decides it. Every time you pause when your soul told you to act, you don't just miss an opportunity, you kill a timeline. A future that could have existed vanishes in silence. You don't see it disappear because your mind hides it behind logic. It tells you, you were wise to wait. You were smart to hold back. But deep inside, you feel it. You feel the quiet ache of what might have been. Think back on your life. How many times did you sense a chance, a pull, a door slightly opening, only to let the voice of hesitation talk you? How many friendships, careers, ideas, or callings slipped through your fingers? Not because you were denied them, but because you delayed them. This is the great deception of hesitation. It convinces you that you are being thoughtful, when in reality, you are surrendering your power to fear. And yet, there is good news. The moment you see hesitation for what it is, not a friend, not a protector, but a thief, you begin to break its hold, because you cannot fight what you cannot see. But once you see it, you can decide differently. The next time the voice tells you to wait, to prepare more, to stay where it feels safe. Remember, that's not wisdom. That's hesitation. And if you want your future to change, you must stop obeying the whisper that has already cost you too much. One of the most convincing lies the mind tells is this: you just need a little more preparation. It sounds wise. It sounds responsible. And of course, preparation has its place. But preparation, when stretched too far, becomes a paradox. It makes you feel like you're moving forward, when in reality, you're standing still. It convinces you that you're getting closer, but every day you wait, the starting line moves further away. Think about it. How many times have you delayed a decision because you told yourself you weren't ready yet? You needed one more book, one more course, one more sign, one more conversation. And while you were gathering more information, while you were waiting for the perfect, and all you were left with was the weight of another chance missed. This is the preparation paradox. The longer you prepare, the harder it becomes to begin. Because the more time you spend in preparation, the more fear quietly grows. Behind the scenes, your hesitation deepens, your caution strengthens, and soon you're no longer preparing. You're disguising your avoidance as wisdom. But here's the truth. Clarity does not come before action. Clarity is born through action. You don't figure out the entire path before you take the first step. You figure it out while you're moving, like driving at night with headlights. You don't need to see the whole road to reach your destination. You just need enough light for the next few hundred feet. And as you move forward, more of the path reveals itself. The preparation paradox is seductive because it feels safe. You tell yourself, I'll start when I know more. But knowledge without movement is just storage. Wisdom without action is just potential. And potential left unused becomes regret. The ones who change their lives are not the ones they are the ones who begin, even while trembling. They are the ones who step forward with 70% certainty, knowing that momentum beats perfection every single time. They are the ones who accept that mistakes will come, but progress will come with them. So the next time you feel the urge to delay in the name of preparation, ask yourself honestly, am I preparing, because the truth is, you already have more than enough to begin. What you lack is not information, it is movement. And movement is the cure to the preparation paradox. Beneath the layers of hesitation, beyond the filter of fear, there is a deeper self inside you. You've felt it before. It's the quiet presence that rises in moments it's the voice that whispered, "Keep going," when everything around you told you to give up. It's the steady part of you that doesn't get shaken by every setback, because it remembers who you were before the world tried to make you forget. This deeper self doesn't ask for proof. It doesn't beg for permission. It doesn't wait for signs. It is the sign. It speaks not in loud commands, but in subtle nudges. A feeling in your chest, a knowing in your gut, a pull towards something greater, even when it doesn't make sense to the logical mind. And every time you followed that pull, life has opened in ways you couldn't predict. But here's the challenge. The noise of your own doubts, the endless distractions designed to keep you scrolling, numbing, forgetting. And when you live too long in that noise, you forget the sound of your own truth. You start mistaking the filter for your identity. You start confusing fear with wisdom. You start living as a smaller version of yourself, while the deeper self waits patiently underneath. The good news: that deeper self never disappears. No matter how many years you've lived in hesitation, no matter how many times you've obeyed the filter, the deeper self is still there, watching, waiting, remembering, and right now as you listen to these words, that self is stirring again. That's why you haven't clicked away. That's why you haven't numbed out. Something in you recognizes this message, not as new information, but as memory. Because you were not created to live trapped in fear. You were not made to spend your life repeating cycles of hesitation. You came here with power, with purpose, with resilience already built into your soul. The deeper self has never forgotten. And here's the invitation. Stop identifying with the filter and start identifying with the self beneath it. The filter whispers limitations, but the deeper self whispers possibility. The filter clings to safety, but the deeper self calls you to growth. The filter keeps you repeating old loops, but the deeper self holds the key to new timelines. The question is, which voice will you follow? Because whichever one you obey becomes your life. People are taught to repeat words, to declare affirmations, to speak dreams into existence. And yes, words matter. But words alone are not the language life responds to. The universe doesn't bend because of what you say. It bends because of what you radiate. Your energy, your inner state, your vibration, your frequency, always speaks louder than your voice. Think about it, you can say. I am strong 1,000 times. But if your shoulders are heavy with defeat, if your posture bends under the weight of doubt, then your words are hollow. You can write, I am wealthy, every morning in a journal, but if your body tenses with fear every time you spend money, the signal you are broadcasting is scarcity, not abundance. The world is not responding to your slogans. It is responding to your signal. This is why so many people struggle. They speak the right phrases. They visualize the right images. They repeat the right affirmations. But deep down, their nervous system is still bracing for rejection. Their mind says one thing, but their energies, and because energy is stronger than words, the field responds to the signal, not the statement. Look closely at your life. Every result you see is evidence of what you've been broadcasting, not what you've been hoping for, not what you've been declaring out loud, but what you've been embodying day after day, because embodiment is the true affirmation. Embodiment is the proof that cannot be faked. So ask yourself, what am I really transmitting? What is my body saying when I walk into a room? What is my energy declaring when I start my day? What frequency am I radiating when no one else is watching? Because the truth is, the signal doesn't lie. It reveals the state you live in, and the state you live in shapes the life you experience. When your words and your energy align, something powerful happens. Your signal becomes coherent. Your broadcast becomes magnetic. You stop sending mixed messages into the field, and reality starts to reorganize itself around you. Opportunities you couldn't see before become visible. Paths that felt impossible suddenly open. Not because magic appeared, but because your signal finally matched your intention. Energy speaks louder than words, always. And the moment you begin to live in alignment with the frequency of the life you desire, you stop trying to convince the world, and you start commanding it. Every time clarity strikes, it comes with a short window. You feel it as a pull, a spark, a sudden knowing. This is what I need to do. But clarity doesn't last forever. You have about 5 seconds before hesitation returns. 5 seconds before the filter whispers all the reasons to wait. 5 seconds before fear tightens its grip and convinces you to delay. And in those 5 seconds, your future hangs in the balance. This is the 5-second rule of the soul. Act before the old programming catches up. Don't give the filter time to argue. Don't let hesitation rewrite the story again. When you feel the spark, send the message. Speak the words, take the step, begin. Even if your hands shake, even if your voice trembles. Because action taken inside that window has the power to collapse timelines. It proves to life itself that you are no longer obeying fear. You are choosing alignment every opportunity, every transformation. Every breakthrough begins this way, not with perfect preparation, not with flawless certainty, but with a small, decisive act inside the window of clarity. 5 seconds of courage can change everything. This is your moment, not tomorrow. Not when things finally feel comfortable, not when you think you'll be ready. Right now, because the truth is, there is no perfect moment waiting for you. The perfect moment is the one you decide to make perfect by moving. The filter has stolen enough from you. Hesitation has cost you enough timelines. So here is the challenge. Don't just listen. Act, anchor this decision with proof. Declare it, write it, claim it. Leave a comment right now that says, I choose movement. I choose alignment. I choose now. Not for me, not for the algorithm. For you, for your future. For the because once you declare it, once you act on it, once you embody it, the universe will answer, doors will open, opportunities will appear. not because they suddenly existed, but because you finally tuned to see them. This is the line in the sand. This is the day you stop waiting and start walking. You've already felt the spark. You've already heard the call. The only question left is, will you move? The choice is yours. 5 seconds. Decide, act, become.